Hey guys, it's been a while since I've done a Penn State Confessions, so I figured today, why not? You may or may not have noticed that I look very, very different. It's a brand new look. I cut off 2 feet of my hair, by the way, and I donated to Locks of Love, which I felt really, really good about. But I kept telling people that the reason I did that was, because I was like sick of managing the hair and it was like so much work and all that other stuff. But the actual truth is, I may have done it for a different reason, and that's the reason I hope to share with you guys today. Um, there is this, there's this mentality and this belief within not just the gay community but the straight community that anything that is feminine or female is less than and therefore not worth your time or not not up to par. And I've had that long hair for a really long time. And, I am anybody that knows me and anybody I mean, hopefully since the videos you guys have, if you watch my previous videos or anything, or if you've had the chance to talk to me in person, you know that I'm very, very adamant about equality and about gender equality, sexual equality, racial equality, like equality across the board. And there is not for 1 second that I believe that any feminine traits or female traits are less than. That being said, I live in a community that has heteronormative views and values like pushed onto us, and we've seemed to adapt that. And if you're in the gay community, feel free to like sound off in the comments or shoot me a message or whatever and tell me if I'm off base. But I think you'll agree with me that like somehow within the gay community, like specifically just speaking on the gay men, because I can't speak for the other members of the LGBTQIAAH community. There is this belief among the guys that if you don't look and talk and act like a guy, then you're less than. Like they will actively pass you over and go to another guy who may or may not be better for them, but is definitely not as good as you, like a good as a person or good as a match as you, simply because they're more masculine. And it drove me nuts because for a while, the only attention I was getting was from guys that thought I was a girl. Or it would like that's how it would start. Like guys would talk to me and they would be very comfortable around me because they would assume that I was female. And the second they realized I was male and a gay male at that, and a very flamboyant gay male at that, they started to like shift. Some like a lot of guys, to your credibility, have been like are still really good friends with me or still like very polite and civil with me and stuff. But like romantically and socially and interaction, like just based on interactions alone, I've noticed that 99% of the time that a guy approaches me or talks to me, he will treat me like I'm a female. And no, even when he finds out that I'm not, he still does. And I feel like the hair really added to that. And it took, unfortunately, I started to believe that that my hair was where all of my magic was. There's this Lady Gaga song called Hair that my now ex roommate introduced me to. And there's a line that Lady Gaga sings that says, like, I am my hair. And I was so afraid for a really long time that's true for me because honestly, like without the long hair, would I have the same attitude I have now? Would I be able to walk around with that attitude and get away with things the way that I got away with things? Would I be having the same interactions with people, both male and female? Would I, it was a lot of things to think about, and a lot of it didn't affect me on the surface because I was driven, I was doing other things, I was focused on other things, and I was like, oh, these petty, like mask femme debate things in the gay community like are just pointless and stupid. I'm not going to insert myself into that. But there's that voice in the back of my head that says, he's only flirting with you because he thinks you're a girl. You know that he's only interested in you because of your hair. Like it's making it easier for him to see you as a female, and therefore like it's easier for him to talk to you. Now there's nothing wrong with that, if it's easier to talk to somebody because of their gender or their sex, or how you perceive their gender or sex, that's fine. But the problem I was having was that now I'm just talking about just romantic, not social interactions anymore, but like romantic interactions. I noticed that guys would list off, like a guy would be like, oh, like this is what I'm looking for in a guy, and he would name like a whole list of things, and all of that would fit me, but he would not, like he wouldn't consider being into me. And it was multiple guys that would like pass me over, and they would go after another guy who was nothing like what they described what they wanted, and who ultimately ended up being terrible for them, like would break their hearts, would play with their emotions, would steal their money, would try to kill them, cut their brake fluids, all that kind of stuff. And it's just like, I don't understand why gay men feel this need to actively deny and actively suppress the more feminine members. And by the way, while we're on this, the whole gender roles thing pisses me off. It makes me angry that we as a society deem these traits masculine and these traits feminine. And somehow, magically, all the feminine traits are like less than and non-desirable. Like people, both genders and both sexes, the difference between gender and sex, by the way, both gender and sexes would say stuff like, oh, I don't like it when a guy cries, because that's a female trait. I don't want a guy that's too sensitive, or I don't like when guys are too flamboyant or too shy, or like all this stuff. And like, it's weird. It's just weird to me that, we would do that to each other. Like in the gay community, we should be bonding together. We should be, lifting each other up and saying, you're beautiful the way you are. I love you the way you are. You're perfect the way you are. Don't change. But instead, like we say that kind of stuff, but then behind the scenes, we're like, oh, no, I don't want to date him because he's too flamboyant. Or, oh, I'm going to like, when people ask what my hobbies are, I'm going to list the more masculine hobbies first. Even though I really like Desperate Housewives, I'm going to talk about how I like white collar instead. Or I'm going to like advertise that I like hiking and like kayaking, because if I say, oh, I like shopping or, I don't know, singing, they're going to think I'm not as attractive. You know what I mean? Like we actively filter what we present to people. And it makes me mad because I present 100% honest all the time. If you ask me straight up, Dung, what do you do for fun? I guarantee you my answer will always be, oh, I like to sing and I like to shop and hang out with my friends. Is it my fault that those are like considered feminine traits and feminine activities? No. Is it my fault that you decide not to interact with me and think like, oh, because you like singing and shopping and hanging out with your friends, you must not be like a guy? And by the way, let me dispel all of that right now. I can change attire, and I've done it in white jeans and heels, and my friends have not been able to do that, by the way. I can literally do everything on a car except for change the carburetor. I don't know how to do that. But everything else I can do, which is a billion times more manly than half the gay guys I know that present more masculine than I present. And like, I can start a fire with sticks and flint. Like I play video games nonstop. Not just My Little Pony, which I don't play. I play like hardcore stuff like Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, Fire Emblem, Super Smash Brothers, Mario Party, Mario Kart. I even play Halo sometimes. I've played Call of Duty. I've played, oh my God. I've played BioShock. I've played first-person shooters. I prefer not to, but I play them. So, do you see the point I'm getting at? Like, I do things that are considered masculine or guy things, but people ignore that and they only focus on my feminine traits. And when they only focus on my feminine traits or what they deem my feminine traits are, I see that I'm actively getting passed over. I'm not getting I'm not getting the same conversation that that guy's getting just because he happens to look and present more masculine than I do. So I told myself, I made a little wager with myself, um, because the hair was like really honestly, like the long hair was way too much for me to manage, and I was getting tired of it, and like split ends were getting to me, and the shampoo was getting to me, and straightening was getting to me, and it was like a lot. So I said, you know what, Dung, when you cut your hair again, why not donate 2 feet, and then why not cut your hair like as short as possible, so that you can prove to yourself and to others, but more to yourself, that you're not your hair. You're more than just your hair. That people actually like you for who you are, for your personality, not because they mistake you for a girl and they're willing to open up to that. Um, so I guess in a long-winded way, I'm trying to say that I actively got this haircut because I wanted to see if I could still get the same attention from guys that I got before, if it's a different kind of attention. And I definitely want to see how I grow as a person and as a gay male. And I strongly, strongly encourage any of you guys that are watching, if you're openly LGBT, even if you're not openly LGBT, if you know someone that's LGBT, if you have a family member, a friend, a classmate, a teacher, anything, like anybody, please, 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 by all means, like take what I'm saying to heart. Do not put people into a gender role box. Don't advertise them or present them, or advertise yourself or present yourself as one gender over the other. Because, to be honest, like, everybody should know how to change a tire. It's a skill that everybody's going to need to know, especially if you drive. Everybody should know, like, how to do dishes. Everybody should know how to cook for themselves. Everybody should know how to do laundry. Everybody should know how to clean. Like, these are things that, like, we should all know how to do, and we have to stop. We have to stop as a society, as a community, as an individual, putting gender roles on them. And we have to stop enforcing the gender roles. It's absurd. It's stupid. It's gross. It's detrimental to our growth as humans, as community members, and as a society. So I'm hoping that I left with a positive message, and I'm hoping this rings true. I'm hoping it turns cogs in your ears and your mind, and I hope that the next time you interact with me or any other gay male or straight male, for that matter, if they present what you consider feminine, I hope that you really analyze yourself and see, am I treating them differently because I view them as this instead of this? And at the same time, I hope that you analyze and pay attention to how you present yourself to people, and actively go, am I making myself more butch than I actually am? And then why am I doing that? And the opposite goes for, am I making myself more femme than I actually am? And why am I doing that? I feel like it's a really healthy thing to do, and it'll be a nice journey for us to go on. So stay with me, and we'll see. And then really quick, I know, like, to tie it into why I'm doing this under Penn State Confessions, the majority of this campus, when I was first here, everybody was very, very, the people that were loving and open and accepting of me, they really honestly believed I was female. And a lot of them have a hard time differentiating that I'm not female. They have a hard time remembering that. So, like, when they talk with me, they're like, oh yeah, Dung, she this, her class is here. Yeah, and it doesn't bother me. It really doesn't bother me what pronouns you use. But I've noticed that the treatment I'm getting is definitely because people consider me female. And I'm going to leave you with the words that Madonna has put in her song, What It Feels Like for a Girl. It's okay for girls to wear their hair short, to wear jeans and dress like a boy. But for a boy to look and dress like a girl is degrading because you think that being a girl is degrading. Think about that. Bye, guys.